The story begins about 10 years ago, when the father of a church came to a small island in Malaysia with his wife and younger daughter. His motive was to convey God's message to the people there and connect them to the church. The first few days went very well. The villagers came to the church every day, praying and carefully listening to its teachings. But gradually, the situation started to change. In fact, the people of the island worshipped their local gods. They didn't feel good about an outsider trying to change their faith. In a few days, the entire village environment became tense. Strange signs and scary mass ships were given. And then, one night, suddenly everything shattered. The villagers attacked the church and set it on fire. Now the scene cuts to the present time. A teenage boy in the US was ignoring the things his father David wanted. David wanted them to work on the car together and bring back memories of the old days. But Toby was busy with his phone all the time. Seeing this, David went to work on the car alone. While David was working on the car, suddenly some people came there wearing masks. They surrounded him from all around. At the same time, Toby was watching TV inside the house. He wasn't even aware of the incident happening outside. Suddenly, those masked people attacked David with a knife and stole his car. Toby heard the car's noise then. He immediately ran outside, but David had died by the time he reached him. David's death was reported on every news channel. This accident filled Toby's heart with deep guilt. Seeing Toby's condition, his mother took him to a psychiatrist. The doctor suggested a special program for Toby, a program in which people undergoing trauma are sent to an uninhabited island alone for some time so they can talk to themselves and calm their minds. Then Toby signed up for this program. 1 month later, Toby was sitting in the boat to the island. After a long journey the entire day, the leader of the group explained everything to everyone. Every member would be landed on a different island. 3 days and 3 nights, you'd have to stay there. You have to work with the supplies you're given. A sleeping bag, a tent, a flashlight, a little food, and a flare. Remember, the flare is to be used only in an emergency, he said. The next morning, Toby landed on a small island. They told Toby, after 3 days, stay ready in the middle. We'll come to take you. Then they left. The boat went away slowly, and Toby remained alone there. He suddenly returned to the terrible memory of when the police took his father's body. He choked up, but he handled himself. He took a deep breath and decided that sitting sadly would achieve nothing. Now he'd have to start work. He first pitched the tent. Then he went to the forest to collect wood. On the way, he saw some coconuts on the ground. But as he removed the bushes, he saw a dead little animal. Seeing this, he remembered the night when he saw his father's body. He immediately returned to the tent in fear. Getting there, he saw a monkey eating his food. After that, he tried to start a fire but failed. Then Toby thought maybe he'd find some fish in the sea. He went into the water but mistakenly stepped on a sea creature, which injured his leg. However, he caught some fish to eat. Blood flowing from Toby's foot reached a mysterious mask lying in the depths of the sea. Later, he opened that shell with his knife and saw that it had a big magnifying glass inside. Using this, he finally managed to start a fire. He ate the fish that night. Then he took coconut water from the forest with the flashlight. But as he began to find coconuts, he felt someone was running behind him. In fear, he turned the flashlight and saw that a scary face was hidden behind a tree. And the next moment, he ran from there. Toby, filled with fear, returned to his camp running and lit the flare for security. At the same time, painful memories of his father's death returned all at once, and he became unconscious. During the night, the sea's sharp drift washed away most of his stuff. The next morning, when Toby came to his senses, he saw he had already chopped coconuts. Composing himself, he saw a girl standing in the water. As he started going from there, Toby began following her. Then the girl suddenly turned and rose toward Toby, but she wasn't attacking him. She was only following the voice of a stranded animal. Then she told him her name, Melanie. She warned Toby that staying on this island is very dangerous. After that, Toby went behind her and they reached a dam. Melanie brought the fire and shared her cooked food with Toby. After eating, Melanie said she was going home now and Toby couldn't come behind her. Toby still tried to follow, but Melanie again picked up the knife, just to kill a snake that was about to bite Toby. Then she advised Toby to stay near the fire. This keeps animals away, she said. Toby trusted her and went to the shelter he made at his dam. At night, Toby was afraid to see a murderer of his father, but quickly understood that it was just a dream. When awake, he saw the fire had gone out. He began trying to start a new fire. Then there came odd voices from the darkness. Toby thought maybe Melanie had come, so he went toward the forest. He saw a thread there. As he pulled it, he found some strange decoration. Then a scary person appeared from behind. But as Toby turned, he suddenly disappeared. The next morning, Toby was at the shelter and saw Melanie preparing breakfast. She saw Toby's foot injury and took him to find a special herb that healed the wound. Melanie told Toby that she had lived on this island since childhood and that only she and her mother were left here. As soon as they found the herb, Melanie put it on Toby's wound and explained it wasn't to eat because it could bring sleep. All day, Melanie taught Toby how to survive on the island, such as fishing, making shelters, and searching for food. In turn, Toby told her about new things like the internet and Wi-Fi. They met again at night. While leaving, she left the spear for Toby and warned that if he followed her, her mother would kill him. She said she'd meet him again in the morning, but Toby said he'd leave the island the next morning. Hearing this, Melanie suffered and she ran inside the weird decorated tree. When he reached the middle in the morning, Toby was nowhere to be seen. He flashed his flashlight to find Toby in the forest, but he slipped down and fell as soon as he heard strange voices among the trees. Then suddenly the light of his own flashlight came from the front. He thought it would be Toby, so he moved toward him. But as she reached close, the light went out and the flashlight fell to the ground. When she tried to pick up the flashlight, she saw two flashing eyes in the dark, and suddenly, a black hand came onto her hand. Then, in the dark for a few minutes, there was just a scream. Toby woke up the next morning and understood he'd been sleeping while calling Melanie. He immediately fled to the middle, but there was nobody there. He sat down and waited. A few hours later, he saw someone swimming in the sea. Getting down in the water, he saw many things floating there. Following them, he finally reached Kay's boat, which was drifting in reverse. Surprisingly, Melanie's mother was taking stuff off the same boat. As he went from there, Toby started investigating inside the boat. He got 2 flares when opening the wardrobe, but as he looked forward, behind a door, he found the body of his. Toby started swimming immediately with fear, but suddenly his clothes got stuck in a door. It was lucky that he quickly freed his clothes and returned to the surface. After that, Toby reached the forest where he found the caked flashlight there. Weird scratch marks were on the flashlight. With the help of the same flashlight, he went to a cave near Melanie's treehouse. There were lots of bats inside the cave and weird, strange voices echoing. Then from the back, the same scary organism came again, which scared him and made him drop the flashlight from his hand. He immediately lit it up and burned again. As it lit, his eyes fell on the scary drawings made on the walls. A few moments later, Toby reached the end of the cave and came out. There he saw the debris of the old, broken church. Then he heard the voice of an injured goat. When he came closer, he found Melanie's mother was preparing to eat it after hitting it. Toby quietly hid himself from her eyes and left there. After that, he continued his search again. After wandering for a while, Toby finally found Melanie's home. Going inside, he saw that there was an empty bag, 3 passports, and an old photo. The photo made it clear that Melanie and her mother were the family who came to this island with the father of the church years ago. In the house, he also found a box of gasoline and Kay's most important radio. Toby immediately tried to ask for help from the radio. A few seconds later, only one hello was heard, and then suddenly the line was cut off. Meanwhile, Melanie and her mother returned home. Seeing this, Toby quickly hid under the bed. He saw Melanie's mother was making a mixture of the same cooling herb and screaming angrily at her daughter that she wasn't ready to see the outside world. Toby slowly backed up, and then his eyes fell on a strange mask kept under the bed. The next moment he realized that this was the same mask that someone was wearing when attacking the island that night. As Melanie's mother went to Toby, Melanie left the room. Melanie warned him that staying here was dangerous and said he'd meet her in the middle later. Reaching the middle, Toby saw that a light was burning on the other side of the hill. Seeing it, he built a big fire in reply so that he could be seen from far away. At night, when Toby was trying to sleep, Melanie came. He thought Toby would have gone now. Toby told Melanie that the one who had to come to take him was now dead and said that maybe Melanie's mother had killed him. Then Melanie shared some of her childhood memories, resting her head on Toby's legs. She told him that earlier she was happy with her family and played with the village children, but one day something went wrong. She still remembered she was crying in a corner while her mother, who was lined with blood, refused to look at her. After this, Melanie assumed she often saw scary things at night, and now she became sure that maybe her mother killed everyone. Hearing this, Toby asked her if she wanted to run away with him. Melanie immediately agreed but said she'd just go with him the next day. The next morning, Toby heard airplane voices from a distance. He fled to it, but by then, the airplane had gone. Running, he saw an old lighthouse and started going inside to investigate. He tried to turn on the lighthouse, but it wasn't working now. Then Toby saw the light's inner machine and recalled what his father had taught him about car care. Then he understood that gasoline was needed to burn the light. After that, when Toby was returning to the middle, suddenly he hit someone. It was Cameron, who was part of the same program. Nobody had come to take him either, but he had picked a small boat. He sat in that boat and came to find the rest of the people. Toby gave him food and told his story. He was making a new spear, and when Cameron said it's stupid to trust two crazy weapons, Toby showed him the spear to threaten him. Later, apologizing, he told him that he couldn't leave Melanie alone because he was also the victim of all this. Then he went to her home to find Toby Melanie, but there her mother caught her. She stole Toby's spear and tried to frighten him. Toby also began to run away in fear, and Melanie's mother ran behind him. But by mistake, she was trapped in Melanie's made mesh and stuck directly between a tree and a spear. Melanie's mother thought she was going to die now, so she told Toby a truth. She said that whatever happened on this island was not done by her, but by her daughter, i.e. Melanie. Years ago, the people of the island warned the church's father that there was no bad power here, but father did not believe them. When father and his wife were arguing with people, Melanie moved to the Vedika where people enslaved animals. Seeing this opportunity, the monster used the child in his ritual as Toby saw in pictures in the cave. Melanie killed everyone at the same time and left the church but spared her mother. Now before she died, Melanie's mother gave Toby a special herb bag and said it could calm Melanie. She also warned that when Melanie is in her form, she doesn't like the light. She finally said to Toby, no matter what happens, don't let Melanie out of this island. Meanwhile, Cameron was waiting for Toby at the camp. Then he heard some strange voices and listening to them, he moved toward the forest. There he saw bones on the ground. Then Melanie came to him in her form and killed him in the forest. When Toby returned, he only saw Cameron's blood there. Suddenly, he heard a voice behind and saw that Melanie was bringing her mother's body. But as she saw Toby again, she changed to human form. She wanted to know what happened to her mother. Toby asked to calm Melanie, that it was all she did so they could stay together. Melanie was happy to hear it and embraced Toby. During this time, the small bag of Toby fell, in which the special herb was. He played a drama to show interest in his sports section with Melanie to get the bag back. Melanie caught him and started to change. But by then, Toby picked up his spear and knocked her unconscious. Then he put the herbs into Melanie's mouth and calmed her and tied her with the forces. After that, Toby went to Melanie's home. From there, he picked up the gasoline and lit fire above wood. Then he put firewood at the door of the lighthouse so that the animals stayed away. After this, he went up and started running the lights of the lighthouse. During this time, he recalled his father's learning. Like the cars were started, he lit the lighthouse's light. On the top of the hill, Melanie was now aware, and Toby was still waiting for the boat. When he saw through the telescope there was nobody around, he decided to go from there. But as he was going down, the ladder broke and he fell. Gasoline spread over the floor when falling. At the same time, he found out that this special herb grows in the lighthouse. Then the door closed itself. As the revolving light went in the second direction, in some form came to attack in Melanie's shadow. Toby caught the herbs, but Melanie was very powerful. When he tried to put the herb juice on Melanie, Melanie twisted his hands, and the juice fell into his eyes. Then Melanie retreated when light came to her. Toby took advantage of this opportunity and quickly went to sing and ran his face and got a glass piece in water. As the light decreased and Melanie came again to attack, Toby used glass pieces to keep her away. When he went to the door, he saw the little Melanie crying. Toby began to care for the child, but the next moment the baby girl showed her true form and suddenly came in that form and jumped at Toby. Now Melanie was going to his tent, but Toby caught a piece of glass again. Melanie caught his wrist, but Toby dropped the light to her eyes by rotating the piece, which made Melanie retreat. Seeing this, Toby immediately fled out and threw the fire on the gasoline by picking up the wood. As a fire took place, Melanie then became human and started trying to become innocent, but Toby closed the door and ran from there. Arriving in the middle, Toby saw that the boat was heading toward the lighthouse. He got down in the water and started following the boat. Swimming as he was trying to get close to the boat, Melanie stood behind him. A few hours later, people rescued were leaving the island by laying someone in the boat. But that person was not Toby, but Melanie, who was still under her Galvani form. And with this movie ends here.